Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and today we're going to be playing Mage Knight on Tabletop Simulator. Yeah, I know. I know, man. Mage Knight, the board game, or I guess it's just called Mage Knight Board Game, is not super new. It's from 2011, and I actually bought it probably around I don't know, 2016 maybe? 2015, 2016. And I never really played it. I bought it because, probably because of Shut Up and Sit Down. I would imagine they did a review of it ages ago. And it sounded really cool. I mean, it's Mage Knight, and it's exploring a map and conquering, doing combat and magic and hiring units, and it's like a full-on RPG in a box, and it's like, yes. But I bought it at a time where I don't think I was really into solo board gaming. I was into just board gaming. And Mage Knight, as it turns out, is not really a good board game to play with other people. BGG recommends it with up to 3, but says by far it's best with 1, and I think predominantly most people play this game solo. Nowadays, I'm much more into solo gaming. Yes, much more than I was, but still not like obsessed with it or anything. But I have looked at Mage, including when I first bought it. I looked at it. It's complicated. Its weight is a 4.38 on BGG out of 5, which is quite high on complexity. It is not a lightweight game for lightweight people. So I have bounced off of this game a couple times when I've tried to look into it. I think the rulebook just feels really dense too, and it's just not obvious. And so this time I was like, man, people keep recommending Mage Knight as a solo board game, and it sounds so cool. I really should try to get into it. And so this time I did something I never actually do, and I actually watched some videos. They weren't even like a how to play, really. It was from Ricky Royale. Or Ricky Royal? I think it's Ricky Royal. His channel is called Box of Delights. And his part 1 of his Mage Knight board game from like 14 years ago has like 250,000 views. It's very like old school YouTube stuff. With a fan noise in the background and no visual like accompaniments or anything like that, and it's just him talking very calmly and quietly as he kind of introduces the game and goes through the first scenario. I don't think it's actually the best possible like teaching method theoretically, but it works, and it's worked for a lot of people, and it worked for me to just kind of get like to grok the basics. To encourage me then to actually look at the rulebook a bit and kind of go back and forth. And I did play through the first intro scenario, which is what we're going to be doing here. So I'm not anything remotely close to an expert at Mage Knight. I apologize if you've ever seen this game before and know anything about it, because it's going to be a little rough. I don't even know most of the I don't know some rules. How much I know versus how much is there is hard to say. I know the basics, and we can do the basics, and that's good enough for the walkthrough scenario. But yeah, so Mage Knight, it was originally a miniatures game, I think. Like, this is Mage Knight board game. I don't know what the original Mage Knight was, but I think Mage Knight. WizKid's first game from 2000. Yeah, it was a miniature war game. Interesting. And so then Vlada Kavatal came along in 2011 and made Mage Knight board game. All right. Well, you'll understand as we go. So let's just begin. We're going to do I'm a new player and want the walkthrough scenario. Done. Simple. Boom. A lot. This is fully scripted. It's very scripted, which is really nice. rather than me just sitting down at a table and playing it on my own. Including it will correct me. It will make sure some rules are followed that I might miss otherwise, which is handy. So, can we read like well, we don't really need to know the lore too much because it's a board game, and I don't even pay attention to lore in video games. But you are a mage knight sent to invade the Atlantean Empire at the behest of the Council of the Void. In a past you've long forgotten, you traded your independence for powers that rival those of the gods. In exchange, the council asks only loyalty, and now you're being called on to carry out your mission without questioning the intentions. Your reward for your continued obedience: fame, power, knowledge, and treasure. Anything you encounter while on your mission is yours to keep, and you are free to work with or against your fellow mage knights as you carry out the council's commands. So yeah, we are a mage knight. We wield power, magical power. We're not like a frumpy wizard, though. We're a fucking mage knight, so we're like a battle mage, and it's pretty badass. The basic sort of goal of each scenario, I guess. Like, so there's the first reconnaissance one, which we'll be doing, but there's also just conquest scenarios, which I guess is the default. And then I think the purpose is just to get the most victory points. Like, the full conquest scenario ends when all cities are conquered. And then you just do scoring. So it's a score. It's kind of weird, I know, compared to a lot of modern campaign RPG kind of games in a box. Yeah, so the solo conquest, you end when you have conquered all cities. And then you score up how well you did, and that's it. So it's more about the journey than the destination, for sure. We're going to be playing solo, and unlike a lot of other solo games that are not designed specifically for solo, we will be just controlling one character, one wizard. And accompanying that is going to be a dummy player, which is more of just a timer. They're not on the board. They don't play they're not like opposing you in any way. It's literally just a semi-random timer that is going to be dumping their cards, and if they run out, then the round ends. So it's just there to prevent you from like taking an eternity on your turn and maximizing all your turns and taking as many turns as you want, kind of thing, you know. The round will end whether you want it to or not. Right. So we're apparently going to be playing as Krang, who looks like some sort of goblin character. I don't know how much of a difference there is between the different mages, but he's apparently from a... So he's apparently from the expansion. I don't know if I want to start with that, so I think we might actually reload. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, that was not a smart thing to do. No, I can't get rid of that. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna reload. It's giving me a random character, I think. Okay. This time we got Arithia, who is possibly not from an expansion. The base game should have 4 knights. I don't know if it talks about... if there's any differences or anything like that. I have no idea. There definitely is a difference. When I did my other one with the other character, I didn't have these cards, so there is a difference. But it's fine. I don't think you have any special abilities otherwise that I have to worry about. Certainly not represented anywhere. Then that's all fine, and and good. Yeah, we should be fine. So we're playing as Arithia. She looks like this. She's badass. And our dummy player is Goldix. He's got Dix in his name, and he's just going to be dumping cards. Like playing with your dumb friend. So, the scenario is all set up. The scenario we're going to be doing is the first reconnaissance training scenario. And it's on your first mission, you'll be sent to an unknown part of the Atlantean Kingdom. Your task is to locate its capital. That's all. All the fame, any knowledge and treasures you manage to get during your mission are yours to keep. So this one ends... This one ends when we reveal a city. When we explore a new tile and there's a city on it, then the scenario is over. We get one last turn after that, and then it's done. And all the other stuff is kind of already set up. We do get, for this special scenario, a fame, which is basically XP. XP / victory points. We get one whenever we reveal new tile, because this is an exploratory one. And we're not using elite units at all on this one, so we don't have to worry about that. And we're only playing for 4 rounds, 2 days and 2 nights. And that's it. Okay, so there's going to be quite a bit to explain, obviously. It's a heavy game, and I'm going to do my best to explain what needs to be explained. The first thing we need to do before our first turn, and this is the end. So there's a difference between turns and rounds. There are 4 rounds in the game. And a round is going to pass by whenever a player has no cards left. Like, basically, they either they cannot play anymore, like they literally have 0 cards in their deck and their hand, or they have not enough cards and they choose to end the round, in which case, I think after their turn, or is it after everyone else gets one more turn? If a player has no cards in their D deck, that's your deck of cards, at the start of your turn, they may either play with whatever cards they have in their hand, or they may announce the end of the round. If they do, their turn immediately ends. Each other player then plays one last turn, and then the round is over. It doesn't really matter for our purpose. We're playing solo. But yeah, so when the round ends, but if the dummy player declares that the round ends, we get one more turn, and then it's over. So there are 4 rounds then, and after each round, we're going to flip over. It's going to go from daytime to nighttime, which affects a couple of things. And once we've done 4 rounds, 2 days, and 2 night times, then the game will end one way or the other. Unless we find a city instead. Turns are each player, in our case, ourselves. We get to do movement. We can play some other cards to do some other miscellaneous things like heal or special actions or stuff. And then we can do one action, which is usually either fighting something or using influence to like purchase something. And that's it. So on your turn, you can move, and you can do one action. And then maybe a few other miscellaneous things. And then after your turn, it's going to go over to the dummy player. He's going to dump some cards, and then it's going to go back to our turn. And at the start of each of your turns, or I guess the end of each of your turns, you will draw back up to 5 cards, or more, depending on certain situations. And then you take another turn until you can't take any more turns because you've gone through your whole deck, and then the round will probably end. Okay. So at the start of each round, you're going to pick your tactics card. For our purposes, well, for normally, this determines, obviously, turn order. So whoever picks a lower number goes first in the round. Otherwise, most of them have special abilities associated with them. So if you pick the 1, you're going to go first, but you don't get anything extra. You pick the 6, you're going last, but you get potentially the biggest benefit. For us, we're going to pick a card, mostly based on the benefit. The dummy player doesn't really matter if they go before us or after us, so we're just picking which one appeals to us most, meaning that 1 will, like, never get picked by us, most likely. And then at the end of each round, I think 2 cards at random, 2 of the tactics cards at random get removed from the game, so you have less choices on follow-up rounds, but there's also a separate set of 6 for the nighttime. So we need to choose a tactic, so we're looking at something 2 through 6 here. 5 is a pretty basic one, I think. Like, kind of a no-brainer. You just immediately get 2 extra cards for your first turn, which is pretty nice. Gets you off to a great start. Rethink. When you take this tactic, discard up to 3 cards, including wounds from your hand, then draw that many cards to shuffle your discard pile back into your D deck. So if we don't, it's a mulligan card. So if we don't like the look of our hand in the current situation, we can get a mulligan. Mana Steal, we get to take a mana die of a basic color from the source, put it on this card. We can then use that mana on any of our turns this day. If we do, re-roll it at the end of the turn, return it to the source. We'll explain mana and the source and all that in a little bit. But it's not necessarily immediately useful, especially playing solo. But there is some applications to that. Planning, at the end of each turn, if you have at least 2 cards in your hand before you draw as if your hand limit is 1 higher. So if we play our turns conservatively without spending all 5 cards, we get an extra little bonus on the next turn. I think that could lead to you handicapping yourself more than is worth it sometimes, where you hold back cards just for that little extra bonus next turn. But at the same time, we're playing solo, so holding cards from turn to turn doesn't matter too much as long as we don't play too slow and then we run out of turns because the dummy player ends the round. So it's not bad. And then 6, one time this day, during your turn, you can announce you will take another turn immediately after this if you do flip this card face down. I think that's another one that we will just very rarely pick. So solo, I wouldn't have minded a different lineup of tactics cards just for solo, and I wouldn't be shocked if someone has modded that or done something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it says you need to decide if you want an extra turn or not. Some rounds you finish early and don't need extra turns. Other rounds you need every last turn and ideally more. You need the experience to try to predict that. That's true, because if the dummy player goes before us, we basically lose out on a turn, most likely, unless we end the round. In my experience, if you play optimally, more turns are quite essential, so it's really about managing the risk of losing the extra turn versus the power you get. I really appreciate the day 2 tactic, since it's very unlikely that the dummy goes first, and you can repair your starting hand. That's true. I didn't really think about that, I guess. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot here. So yeah, I guess there is a factor to going before or after the dummy player, assuming the dummy player will be the one responsible for ending the round and not yourself. I think if you're incredibly efficient and knowledgeable, then probably the dummy player will be the one responsible for ending the round, because you're not just throwing cards away willy-nilly and burning through your deck. So I think that's fair. Let's just do a great start, because I don't want to think about it too much. So we'll just get an extra 2 cards, which it automatically did for me. And then the dummy player is going to pick a random one, picked planning. So the dummy player will go first. And we will just click process dummy. How it works is each one has 3 crystals. So this one has 2 green and a blue. It's going to dump 3 cards off of its deck onto the discard pile. And whichever one is sitting on top, if that color, in this case red, matches one of the crystals, you dump that many extra cards. So if they had been green, they would have dumped 2 more cards off the deck. So it's semi-random. It's not always 3 per turn. You're not quite sure. It's a smart little system, which could describe a lot of Mage Knight, I think. All right, but now it's our turn. We are on the board. Here's our little figure. We can turn it into a token or the sort of thing, but I think the 3D figure is the nicest. And here is the hex-based map. So this one is always going to be the same, I guess. And there are a few spots for us to explore, and again, we want to explore. That is very advantageous for us. But there's some other things to mention here of features. The first thing is the actual terrain itself. And we're going to spend cards to move, such as my March card. This allows us to move 2, or if we spend a green mana, we can move 4. The base move cost is 2 to move across the plains. So to move here is 2, 2, 2. Hills are 3, forests are 3 during the day, 5 at nighttime. Wasteland is 4, deserts are 5, but 3 during the nighttime. Swamps are 5, and we cannot move through lakes or mountains. Also, a city is 2, I guess. So to get to the village would require 6 move. To get onto this mine here, it would require 2 plus 3, so 5. The mine, if we end our turn there, if you end our turn on your mine, you gain 1 mana crystal of the color that the mine produces. So if we end our turn here, we get a green mana. There's also in the forest here a magical glade. If we end our turn on a magical glade, we can heal ourselves a wound out of our hand or discard pile. And if we start our turn on a magical glade, during the day, we get a gold mana token, and during the night, a black mana token. So not a bad spot if you're going to end somewhere to end there, to get a little extra oomph. Then there's also a couple villages. Villages are handy because, for one, you can heal there by spending influence. You can also plunder it to get 2 extra cards for your next turn, but -1 reputation. But most importantly, you can recruit units there. We'll talk about units much later. They're going to be over here, so we can recruit peasants and stuff to add to our command. But yeah, villages are important. There's also on this map some enemies. We have here some prowlers and some ironclads. We want to defeat these, so that's an important part of the game, is defeating enemies. These are called rampaging... they're called marauding orcs, rampaging enemy. I assume rampaging enemy is sort of the type of enemy. The marauding orcs is just this school of enemies, because there can be different types of rampaging enemies. So yeah, then we need to fight these, and we'll go over combat when it happens, which might be soon. I haven't really looked at my cards yet. They are rampaging. They won't move. They'll never move. However, they will potentially block you. If you move to a spot adjacent to a rampaging enemy, and then you move to another spot adjacent to that enemy, they will force you into combat. If you just move next to them, you'll not be forced into combat. You can choose to do combat from there, but you won't be forced into it. But if you move next to them again, you will. So that can kind of cock block you in some situations, some things. Like, we're going to go to this village. If we then explore this tile and we say we want to move to this spot, we will be forced into a combat with the prowlers. So that's something. But yeah, killing enemies is pretty good, especially rampaging enemies, because each time we kill one, we get fame. That's this red number here, or gold number on the red flag. which is our XP slash VP, if you care about that. So that allows us to level up. Also, we get +1 reputation because the locals really like us taking care of rampaging enemies. And that's this nice curved, reminds me of like kind of the Paragon or whatever meter in Mass Effect. And you want high reputation. That's something valuable to you generally, because you get extra influence then when you want to go to purchase stuff, such as units or healing or things like that. So that's really valuable. Whereas if you have bad reputation, you get negative influence. It's harder for you to recruit and purchase. And if you go all the way down to X, then they will not sell anything to you, and they tell you to fuck off. Now, you generally won't want negative reputation, but there are a lot of effects in the game that give you big benefits in exchange for taking minus reputation, such as this card we have here. Normally, it's just worth 2 influence, but if we spend a red mana, we can get 5 influence, which is a lot more, but you take -1 reputation because obviously you're threatening someone. So, you know, it's all a balancing act of what's worth it to you. With that, I think we can explain and look at our cards. So the cards all come in different colors. Green, blue, white, red, the basic colors. And every card can be played for just by itself, for the top effect here. So this would be move 2, this would be influence 2, this would be attack or block 2. Some of them get more complicated. Battle versatility, attack 2, block 2, or ranged attack 1. This one, discard another card from your hand to get move 3, influence 3, attack 3, or block 3. Mana pool, then, even more complicated. You can use 1 additional mana die from the source this turn. If that die is black, use it to produce mana of any color. Complicated, but generally, yeah, it's pretty simple stuff here for our basic cards. Move 2, attack 2, so on and so forth. Then there's mana. And you can spend mana to use the bottom effect of all of these cards. Green, white, blue, red, so on and so forth. There are 4 basic colors, as I just said. White, green, blue, red. That's these. Gold is a wild mana. It can be used for any of those 4, but only during the daytime. It is not usable at all during the nighttime. Black, conversely, is not usable at all during the daytime. It's only usable at nighttime. It's not a wild, but it allows you to cast, like, big, powerful spells and stuff. So that's kind of an interesting little twist. Mana is generated through various methods. The easiest, the most, like, basic way to take mana is from the source. Every round... actually, every turn, kind of. Well, no, every round, these source dice are rolled. And these are available to all players, but really, they're just available to us. So if we want to use, like, improvisation, and we want to use the bottom effect, we can just take this source die, boom, done. We have red mana on it, done. Generally, you can only use 1 source die per turn. And you use it up, and then after it's used, you're going to re-roll it and put it back in the source. It'll do that automatically for us. Yeah, okay, good. So that's the easiest way. You just grab it, you use it, done. But you're limited to 1 of those per turn, so it's more helpful to get more mana. Mana pull, as we mentioned, allows us to use 1 additional mana die from the source this turn, and if it's a black die, which would normally be completely useless during the day, it's actually like a dead die. It generally gets put off to the side, and it doesn't even get re-rolled or anything until the next round. But with mana pull, we can actually use that black die, and we can use it to produce mana of any color. If we spend a white mana on mana pull to use the bottom effect, we take 2 mana dice from the source and set them to any color except gold, and we gain a mana token of each of these colors. But we then do not re-roll those dice when we return them to the source, so whatever we set them to is what they'll be for the next turn. Mana tokens are temporary mana. You generate them during your turn on the fly, and you have to use them that turn on the fly. Any tokens you don't use just get discarded. If, however, an effect or card or whatever says that you get a mana crystal, such as this mine, that actually goes into your inventory and you can hold on to it forever until you want to use it. So that's like perpetual mana until you want to use it. And that's the basic gist of the game, is like looking over all your cards, piecing together the puzzle of what cards to use, what mana to use, in order to accomplish the most stuff on your turn, getting the best turn out of it. There's a lot of non-hidden information here. In this case, we know how many movements it would take to get to whatever spot. We know the enemy's stats. There's no hidden stats or dice rolls or anything like that. It's all deterministic. And we also know if we want to go to the village, like what units are available or something like that. There is some hidden stuff. There is obviously like these tiles that we would explore. We don't know what's on them or the layout of them or anything like that. So that is an unknown. But it's a pretty deterministic game. So we can kind of piece together this puzzle. The other thing you can do with cards is if you don't want to use it for the effects, you can turn it sideways, and you can use it as like a basic card. You can use it as one move, one influence, one block, or one attack. So if we wanted to move 4 without spending a green mana or something, we could just take this move 2 plus 2 basic cards like that, and that would be 4 movement. Okay. So, we need to piece together our turns. So we want to get to the village, for sure. We want to explore. That's good. We also want to probably kill these prowlers. So I guess I'll explain combat real quick. It's pretty simple. Combat in itself is not like a super complicated mechanism. It's not like Magic Realm or something. Every unit is going to have a couple main stats that matter. The armor value, which is basically the hit point value, and the fight value or the damage value. So these prowlers have a physical attack that does 4 damage, and they have 3 armor. The sequence when we want to do a combat, or when we're forced into combat, is the first would be ranged attacks. I don't actually have any ranged attacks. Well, I have 1. Yeah, battle versatility. I can do a ranged attack 1, or if I spend red mana, I can do a ranged attack 3, which might come into play. So, in order to defeat an enemy, you have to do in one sort of blow, one shot. You have to do enough damage equal or higher than their armor value. So to beat this guy, I have to do 3 damage. I have 3 attack. The first phase is ranged attacks. So if I can do ranged attack 3 or higher, I can kill him before anything else, and then the combat is just over. If not, if I cannot do that, then he does damage to me. He will do 4 attack to me. And I have to either take it and take wounds, which are bad, or I have to block it, and I have to generate block value enough to do it. And you can actually take multiple wounds in one hit like that. After that, I can then do my normal attacks. I can include ranged attacks in this at this point. Like, as part of the melee part, I can do a ranged attack. But otherwise, you can just do regular attacks. But you have to get equal or higher than their armor value. And it does not stack. You can't do 1 ranged attack in the ranged part and then 2 regular attack in the melee part. You have to do it all in one shot. And that's it. And then, actually, I don't know what happens if you fail to kill him. That didn't come up in my scenario. Because usually it's like, if you're going into combat, it's because you've planned this out. But I don't know what happens. Whether you defeat all the enemies or not, the combat is over after this phase. So it's one combat round, essentially. And if neither are dead, then he's still there, you're still there, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So our goal then is probably to get to the village and kill that prowlers. Some of them also have special abilities. This guy has 3 armor, but you'll notice he has a little fist icon next to him. And that means he has physical resistance. So if I do regular base just attacks, range attack or attack, that doesn't say fire attack or ice attack or something, I have to do twice as much. I have to do 6 or higher. Also, he has brutal. So if I do not block his 4 damage, it becomes 8 damage. Quite a bit. And I think for block, you have to block the whole thing. You can't just play like 2 block and then you only take 2 damage. I think you have to do the whole thing. Yeah, the total value of the block split has to be equal to or higher than the attack value. You have to fully block it. Okay. So to get to the village, let's just discuss that first. We have to generate 6 move. The easiest way is either going to be getting a green crystal on March and then dumping 2 other cards, or using improvisation, which would let us either discard a card to get move 3, or playing a red crystal to get move 5. In which case, basically, we're still dumping 3 cards total. So it's a question of whether I can easily get green or red crystals more. But say we get there and we want to kill the thing. We could also instead influence if we don't want to kill him this turn. Influence lets us heal, which is nice, but it also lets us purchase these units. So let's talk about units. You can only, at the start of the game at level 1, you can only command 1 unit at a time. So if you were to recruit a second unit, you'd have to ditch the first one completely. As you level up, you'll be able to get more command tokens and command more units. A unit is usable once per round. Not once per turn, once per round. So once per round, you can activate them to do one of these effects. So peasants, they can attack or block 2, or they can influence 2, or they could help you move 2. The guardsman can attack 2 or block 4, which counts twice against an attack with swiftness. Pretty good. They also can take wounds for you. Generally, they can only take 1 wound, and they have to be healed before they can be used again. They can't be killed, per se. At least I don't think so. But if they have taken a wound, they cannot take another wound. They have to be healed before they can do anything else. So they're kind of dead weight at that point. They also have an armor value, which functions for reducing the damage of an attack after taking a wound. We'll get to that if we ever take a wound. I'm sure we will. They have an influence cost, of course, 5 for the guardsmen and 4 for the peasants. And they also have a location where they can be recruited. So the peasants, of course, are only in villages. The guardsmen are in villages and keeps, I want to say. That would be my guess. I don't know. We don't have that publicly available, I guess. But I'm pretty sure it's a keep. Irrelevant. So all 3 of these could be recruited. So if we want to get the guardsman, we could get the guardsman, which is not a bad dude to take. So we could try to influence this turn and do that. Like, we could threaten, lower our reputation, but we'd only have to play 1 card to get him, which is kind of nice. Alternatively, like the improvisation with a red crystal, discarding another card, we can get influence 5. Or if we play promise with a white crystal, we could get influence 4 and get one of the peasants, which are pretty flexible. Or we can spend our turn killing the prowlers and worry about getting getting a unit next time. But if we get the unit, we could use them immediately if need be. It's hard to say. Our big option here is mana pool. We can play the white portion of this, the powered portion, because we have a white source die, and then we could take 2 mana dice from the source and set them to any color except gold, and we'd gain a mana token of each of these colors. It's a token, so it's only usable this turn, but we could potentially get 3 mana this turn and use all the source, which is kind of appealing. So let's just say we're going to do that. we need to move. We want to do this as efficiently as possible, so it's almost certainly going to be the march. So one of these is going to be green. Yep. And that allows us to get this, and then this goes back to the source. Yep, that's correct. So that gets us to move 4. We need 2 more move, which, yeah, pretty much I have to dump 2 cards, however I want to do it. So now we have to decide, really, whether I want to purchase a unit or whether I want to fight. I think we're going to go with... I think we're going to go with... I think we're going to go with influence. Because as long as I have battle versatility and red next time, I can just use this ranged attack 3 to pop the Prowler next time. You can only do one thing or the other. You can only influence or fight. I can't do both. You get 1 action. So I think we're just going to do that. So that means I'm going to play improvisation. And then I'm going to use determination. I'm going to dump that along with it. And that's going to get us a total of move 7. So then we go... Oh, right. The other one that we're going to use then is going to be red. We want to set that to red so it doesn't swap at the end of this turn. And we're going to use the red token that it generates on our influence. There you go. So that gets us to move to the village. We have 1 extra. It costs 2 movement points in order to explore. So I actually could do that if I wanted to dump Promise. We're going to use the bottom portion of Threaten to get Influence 5, and that gets us the Guardsman, so it's actually not a bad idea. So we're going to add an extra move on top of that in order to explore. Okay, so we get an XP, we get a Fame for exploring. It reveals a white mine, and it reveals a keep, which is a bit advanced for us at the moment, so we're not going to worry too much about that. But that's all well and good, so we have the rest of the layout there for how to continue. Then we're going to use Threaten with this red mana token. And that's going to be Influence 5 that we generate, but it lowers our reputation. Still don't get a penalty, which thankfully, otherwise that would screw us over. But now we have 5 Influence, and we're going to pick up these Guardsmen. Boom. So our command token, our 1 command token goes there. And we can activate this Guardsman whenever we feel like it. He's only useful in combat, but combat is what we will be doing quite a bit of in this game. And that was our first turn. We're going to hold on to battle versatility for the next round. Next turn, I'm sorry. And that's it. So now we are going to... Yeah, we're going to hit end turn. That's going to reroll that white that we used to red. It discards all our cards, blah, blah, blah. Gets rid of the tokens that we had. And then it checks our end turn. We're going to be drawing up to 5 cards because that is our current hand size. And we're all good on that. So there we go. So we drew 4 cards to bring us back to 5. Then it's Goldix's turn. Process that. Another red card on top, so no more draw. Goldix is going nice and slow. And it's back to our turn. We have 1 fame. We level up with 2 more fame, which will happen after we kill these prowlers. So that's going to happen now. Yeah, so we can't attack and then move. Movement is always first. So we can't kill this guy and then move to the glade. Thinking. I'm thinking it's a big puzzle. We could alternatively move onto the Mana Glade and move away from the Prowlers without killing him. And then we could fight the Ironclads, which are worth twice as much. They're worth 4 fame. They have physical resistance, but if I make it into melee with them, if I block them and all that, and we can use battle versatility to do fire attack 3, which would ignore the physical resistance and just kill them outright. Which is kind of nice because I have a lot of red. So I'm somewhat tempted, and we can also use the Guardsman to easily block 4, which is how much he would attack for. So that would be pretty simple. I don't know if it's the most efficient, but it's kind of cool. So, you know, it's pretty cool. In order to move on to the forest, though, we need 3 move, which means I'd have to play the staminas. We can't move and then fight and then use excess move or move again or anything like that. All movement is done first and then your action. So I think probably I'm going to just dump both moves. Alternatively, we hold on to this stamina for next turn. And we dump Tranquility as this. We could play Tranquility to draw a card. Alternatively, before we even do that, we could play Concentration in order to get a blue token and just use this as a move 4. And then we wouldn't have to dump any extra cards, but we'd be dumping essentially Concentration. So it's kind of a horse apiece. Alternatively, although I would say it's the worst option, we could play the green die from the source on the bottom of Concentration, which allows us to play another action card with it, and we get the mana effect, the powered effect of that card for free. And if it gives move, influence, or block, or any type of attack, such as ranged attack, or siege attack, or fire attack, or whatever, you get that amount plus 2. So if we did this and then did the stamina, we would actually move 6 spaces. The problem with this strategy, of course, is that we kind of are depending on the red source die for battle versatility in order to one-shot the Ironclads. Alternatively, there is a downside to this whole plan in that, well, it's not terrible, but after we kill the Ironclads, we'd have to then move on to another forest in order to continue exploring this way. But the benefit is we would end on the Mana Glade, the Magical Glade, and we get a gold mana token for the next round, which is a wild mana. I think it's questionable, but I also don't think it matters too much because we're just playing solo and it's a learning game, so fine, whatever. So, I think then we're just going to do stamina and we're going to do this for 3 move, and we're going to go to the Glade. And then we're just going to play battle versatility. Well, no. Okay, so we can't do the ranged attack. We can do 1, or we could do ranged attack 3, but we can't do fire ranged attack 3. So no matter what, we're not killing this guy. And, well, yeah, it's true. We could do the bottom part of Concentration, which would give us this plus 2, which would get us range attack 5. But he can't do ranged attacks, and you can't play a card sideways for ranged attacks, only regular attack. So the bottom part of Concentration is a very rare, nice effect that allows you to boost range attacks, but it's just not enough. So he's going to be attacking. It's 4 damage. We could... Yeah, well, basically, we don't want to take wounds. So we're going to use the Guardsman. He blocks 4. He counts twice against an attack with swiftness, which normally would double his attack value. which is really, I mean, it's a great effect. That's what he's for mostly, is just blocking. So he blocks the 4, done, goes on to the melee step, the attack step, and we're going to play a battle versatility with the red to give fire attack 3, which is enough to roast this asshole. And actually, you want to click this, that brings him to our spot. So he's dead. And that is basically the end of our turn. I can play concentration, but it would be quite dumb because it would give us just a temporary token and our turn is over. So that is it. So we will end turn. That gives us 4 fame. And so now we're on 5 here total. And each time you go to a new row, you get a level up. So we are now level 2. Huzzah! We don't get a new token. Eventually you get a new command token. We get a second unit to command at a time, but instead we get a new advanced action and a new skill. We can also remove a wound at this point, but I don't have any wounds, so we're fine. We're too good. We get a new skill. We get to pick from one of these 2. The other one will be locked away from us forever. The first one is Ritual of Pain. Once per round, except during combat, throw away up to 2 wound cards from your hand. And then the following turn, you may play a wound card sideways for +3. So if we're planning on getting a lot of wounds, massive amounts of wounds, it allows us to really exploit that pretty nicely. Alternatively, Burning Power, once a turn. Siege Attack 1 or Fire Siege Attack 1. Now, this is once per turn, which is quite often. I mean, that's kind of the best. Every turn you get to use this skill. The only downside is it's Siege Attack, which Siege Attack is essentially the same as ranged attack. It's just against fortified enemies, you can't use normal ranged attacks. You can only use Siege. It's not bad because it counts alongside ranged attacks. So it accumulates. Like if you have range attack 2, or for this turn specifically, I could get range attack 5, if you recall. If I had this skill, I could have just thrown on an extra fire siege attack or whatever and killed the guy. I'm pretty sure. Everything I'm saying is mostly in the I'm pretty sure territory. Yeah, it says we can combine siege and range attacks. The result is 6 more than we needed. 6 more than we needed. Elemental attacks are useful. You encounter enemy resistant to the usual physical attacks. When attacking, the total value of attacks is halved except for fire or ice attacks. Round out. Yeah, okay. So that, yeah. No, actually, yeah, it would have worked. Yeah, so that would have worked. Because then that would have been technically 2 range attack and then 1 + 1 fire. I think we're going to go with Burning Power. Now, this one, the Ritual of Pain, I believe we can never use again. We can never take on any future level ups. But we also get we get one thrown in the pit pile from the dummy player. So we get green crystal craft as an option on some future level ups. To once per round, flip this to gain 1 blue crystal to your inventory and a green mana token. That's pretty good. So we have our skill. We can use this now every single turn. And hopefully I don't forget I have it. We also get an advanced action card. These are the upgraded card, the better cards, the Glengarry cards. Agility. It's a move 2, and during combat this turn, you may spend move points to get 1 attack for each. If we spend a white mana, we get move 4. And during combat this turn, you may spend any amount of move points to get 1 to get 1 attack 1, and or 2 to get range attack 1. Okay, so if we have a lot of movement available, we can massively boost our attack and maybe even range attack. Refreshing Walk you get to move 2 and heal 1. Again, this is strictly for wounds, either to yourself or to your units. If played during combat, it's a move 2 only. Which is interesting. I'm not quite sure what that would do for you by playing move during combat. But I guess it means you cannot heal during combat. It's a refreshing walk. It makes sense. And then regeneration. It's a heal 1. Also, it lets you ready a level 1 or 2 unit you control. By spending a green mana to heal 2, ready a level 1, 2, or 3 unit you control. So this would allow us to bring back our guardsman and use him right away. I just want to make sure that that's true and I didn't just make that up. If a unit has a command token above the card, it's ready. Yes, you can activate to use one of its abilities. It is spent, cannot be activated, blah, blah, blah. Start of the next round, not turn. Command token is moved above it. Yes. So otherwise, this guy is not available to us again for the entire rest of the round. I think regeneration sounds pretty solid, so we're going to claim it. And that means it goes onto the top of your deck. And since we have not redrawn yet, we're going to draw that card this turn. So now we can click this. We get it. We get regeneration. We get crystallize and another march. We'll process the dummy. Okay, so there, that finally came up. So it came up green. He drew 2 more, so he's got 5 cards left. It's possible, theoretical, that there's only going to be a couple more turns. Otherwise, most likely, it'll be 3 turns left. Good. We need to get 3 more fame in order to level up again, so the Prowlers won't do it. We want to explore and keep moving. So we want to move on to this forest. That's 3 move, and then we need to spend 2 more in order to explore another tile. So we need 5 move this turn. We can play concentration. We can play with the green, so we can actually get move 6 pretty easily. And that's almost certainly what we're going to do. We also, thanks to starting our turn on this magical glade, we have a gold mana token. So we can use that to empower anything we want. If nothing else, we'll probably use it on crystallize. Also, by hovering over our deed deck, we can see what we have left. We have 1 red card and 2 white cards, 2 of which are move, all of which are combat related. I don't know what that means exactly. I don't know what I have left in there. So it is what it is. Also, yeah, the guardsman is a level 2, by the way. That was probably kind of obvious, but... So we can power him up, or get him back with just the top effect of regen. All right, so let's just move. Yeah, we're gonna play this along with this. So that's a move plus, it's a move 4 plus 2, so it's a move 6. And we're just gonna do that. You're allowed to take back any actions you do as long as none of your actions revealed hidden information. So at this point, I could take back that action and say, nope, no, that's not a good idea. But as soon as I reveal this, it's done. It's set in stone. But I think we're okay. Okay. Now, that costs 3 plus 2, so 5 total. I only have 1 left over. I can still, I think, add on more move. I can now play March, and I would have move 3, I believe. But either way, we're only moving to one of these 2, so it's either onto the village or onto the orc summoners. The orc summoners, I'm unfamiliar with this. This is a new mechanic. They have 4 armor, no physical resistance, but they have summon as their attack. So we need to read about this. This is new stuff. This is new content. Summon attack. Some enemies have no attack value. They have summon attack icon instead. These enemies do not attack personally, but they are able to summon a monster to attack you instead. If you destroy one of these enemies during the ranged and siege attack phase, ignore the icon, as the enemy's already dead. If not, then at the start of the block phase, the enemy summons a monster. Draw a random token from the brown enemy pile to see what is summoned. And this replaces the summoner's for the block and assign damage phase. That means you either block its attack or face the damage it deals. So you do not get to know how hard it's going to hit. When you first reveal an Orc Summoner, you should show a few brown tokens to the players you're teaching, especially warn them about paralysis and explain the knockout rule because of Minotaurs. Sounds awful. We will want to avoid such a fate. But yes, we're going to move next to it because that doesn't do anything on its own. And as soon as, during the daytime only, not at nighttime, but during the daytime, when we move next to this mage tower, it reveals the enemy that's there. In this case, it's an ice mage. So they have 6 armor with ice resistance, so ice attacks are halved against this enemy. They cannot be targeted by unit abilities powered by blue mana, nor from non-attack effects of blue cards. They also are fortified because they're in the mage tower, so they cannot be attacked with ranged attacks, only siege attacks. And they have ice attack 5, which means that any physical blocks you play are halved in value, along with any ice blocks you would play. This is a very tough enemy. They are not, however, rampaging, which means that I can move around them freely. I only have to fight them if I specifically move onto the mage tower, and you do have to move onto it. It's on a desert tile, so that's 5 movement just to move onto it. But during the nighttime, it will only be 3. And thankfully, we move next to it during the day, so we get to see what it is in advance. If you wanted to go onto a tower at night and you haven't seen it already, then it's just sight unseen. We're obviously not going to be fighting the Orc Summoners this turn, but we might be able to do it next turn depending on what our other 3 cards are. We're going to be doing regeneration. That allows us to get this guy back in business. And then we're going to be going ahead and... Yeah, I didn't... Okay, so this march I can actually take back if I wanted to. But I don't think there's really much else that I would do. The only other thing that I could do, I suppose... No, I revealed hidden information. I can't take anything back. But the problem is I had a blue source die and I had the gold crystal. So some of this could have been... Oh, no, but I already used the green. No, okay, we're fine. So we're going to use the gold here to power crystallize. This allows us to gain a crystal of any color to our inventory. We know that we have a red card and 2 white cards. So I'm going to take a red token, a red mana to our inventory in the hopes that that's a big one. We'll see. We don't have to fight this thing, and even if we move to the village next turn instead, he doesn't force us into combat. That was my understanding of it. I might want to double check this. By moving around it, the enemy will attack you in combat starts immediately. This also comes to your act. See the movement section above. You cannot enter a space occupied by an undefeated rampaging enemy. Moving in the vicinity of a rampaging enemy is dangerous. If you move from a space adjacent to a rampaging enemy to another space adjacent to the same enemy, it's provoked. Right. So we can move to the village and we're fine. This thing is not rampaging, so we could move to the village. But I'm hoping that we can kill him because that would be a nice juicy for fame. But otherwise, I think our turn is done. We're only going to have 3 cards going into the final turn here. So we'll see what we can muster up. But we also have the guardsmen available. It'll be an interesting little puzzle. Let's end our turn. Okay. Okay. There's an option. Obviously, I should have gone with white. Had I known my own cards, which I probably, as a new player, I should have just been allowed to look at my cards that I have remaining. I think, had I had perfect knowledge and an eidetic memory, I would have known, like, oh yeah, I have 2 swiftnesses. I think there's a realm where I'd be allowed to change my decision here. Let me process the dummy. Okay, so we'll be responsible almost certainly for ending the round. I may allow myself a concession here, but let's just see. I need to generate 4 ranged attack in order to kill this thing. And I think that's honestly pretty simple, really. We play swiftness. We can use this gold die as a wild, so that's ranged attack 3. And then we can use our burning power to be a siege attack 1, and that's 4. So honestly, simple. Yeah, so we just flip that over. Job done. And he's dead. Dead as shit. That's pretty simple. When they don't have resistance or anything and you got the right cards, the right setup, it's kind of good. Yeah, because otherwise having to block a random brown creature could have been iffy. With the guardsman, it wouldn't have been that bad, and I think we could have done it. But would I have been able to actually kill it? I don't know. I really only have, like, attack 7, maybe? Something like that. We maybe could have mustered higher than that, though. It's possible. I mean, let me just look at a random... Let's just... Oh, no, it would be a dungeon monster, not a dragon. This is brown. It would have been gargoyles. That kind of would have been tricky. 5 block. So I would have had to have him block and then either get wounded or I would have had to dump a card randomly. And then he would have had 4 with physical resist, which would have been tricky. But assuming... Yeah, so I would have had to have him block and then I play this with the gold. Then I could have done... No, not with the gold. Sorry. Just as a miscellaneous block. So that would have been 5. Then this would have been 4 with my red token, and this would have been 3 with the yellow, which would be 7, plus this burning power, which would be 8, which would be just enough. So yes, I could have done it, and it would have been my whole turn, but thankfully we avoided that. So, all right, that's it. We won, which gives us 4 fame and is another level up. So now we leveled up to level 3, which gave us a new command token. So now I can get another unit to go alongside the guardsman. Yes, I also think that our armor went up. So our armor went up to 3. Armor on player characters works a little bit differently. It basically reduces the damage you take each time you take a wound. So it can kind of lessen the number of wounds you take from a big hit. Or from any hit, really. But the dummy player is now out of cards. But we still have potentially a turn here. We can spend swiftness. And that allows us to move 2. And then technically we could play this as an influence 1, but there's nothing you can do with that. There's no other benefits that we could play. The guardsman is useless in a village for influencing anything. So we actually have nothing. So we will just dumb it. Nothing would change. Nothing's going to change. So that's basically it. Just say it was a move 3 and call it a day. And that's it. So now I end turn. We can plunder the village, but since we have no cards to draw, that would be a really dumb thing to do. But that option is always there if we end our turn on a village. The dummy will call for the end of round. We have 1 last turn, but since there's nothing I can do on my turn at all, we will end the turn and round. Okay. Yeah, so we have nothing... Nothing to talk about. There's some things about putting banners in discard if desired, but I don't have any banners. And you can discard the second offer of playing control over the offers. But we're not worrying about any of that, so just done. Okay, then a lot of more setup stuff in our new hand, and everything gets shuffled and done. And the source gets flipped over to nighttime. The right time, and the source dice are re-rolled. During the nighttime, any gold dice are useless and get put aside, but we got 2 white and a green. As mentioned, the movement costs for forests and deserts are now the other side, so it's 5 to get into a forest during the night, 3 to get into a desert. And we will also be choosing the tactics. These are 2 random. They got it removed. So Great Start is now... Okay, so it wasn't random. It was the ones we picked. So Great Start is now gone, and Planning is gone for the next time we do daytime on round 3. So those are gone. Now we have to choose our nighttime tactic. We have From the Dusk. Long Night. One time this night, if your deed deck is empty, you may shuffle your discard pile and put 3 cards at random back into your deed deck. So kind of extending our play a little bit, which might be valuable for us because I feel like I burn through cards. Mana Search. Once per turn before you use mana from the source, you may reroll up to 2 mana dice in the source. When choosing dice to reroll, you must pick gold depleted dice first, if there are any. So you can't just screw everybody over and make everything into gold dice. That's once per turn, which is pretty good. Midnight Meditation. One time this night before any of your turns, you may shuffle up to 5 cards, including wounds, from your hand back into your deed deck, and then draw that many cards, then flip this card face down. So at any point before any of our turns, we can basically mulligan our whole hand if we want, or up to our whole hand. Preparation. When you take this tactic, search your deck for any 1 card and put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. So our first turn this round, we could really prepare and get the perfect card to put into our hand. And then Sparing Power. Once before the start of each of your turns, choose 1. Put the top card of your deed deck face down under this card, or flip this card face down and put all deed cards under it into your hand. So we could kind of slowly accumulate before having one big turn, which theoretically, if I wanted to take this Mage Tower, that might be a way to do it, but it's like, how long do I want to sit here? The alternative would be to take on the Keep, but now that it's nighttime, it will not get revealed when I move next to it. Much like the Mage Tower, I would have to move on to the Keep. And only then would I find out what I'm facing as the Keep in the Keep garrison. We can glance if you just want to preview. Guardsmen. So they're fortified. You can only attack them with siege attacks during the range phase. They have 7 armor, 3 attack. It's honestly not that bad. So there's probably worse shit in there, but that might be an option. There's a bunch of different options. I'm going to go with Long Night, just because I feel like I'm going to burn through cards, if the first round was any indicator. Dummy is going to take 5, so that's not available to us. Okay. So we have move 2, heal 1, attack block 2, attack block 2, move 2. Okay, it's a balanced enough turn. What we don't have this turn is influence. We got no influence. We could go after and kill the little plunder dude, the prowler dude, but it's 2 fame. It is +1 rep though, which is kind of nice because my rep's a little rough. So if we wanted to move 4, we could just kill him. Just fucking kill him. Yeah, maybe. It's not even that easy to kill him, really. He's got 3 attack. 3 armor. And I have really no ranged attacks in this hand. I don't think killing is super appealing. But I can easily generate 4 attack. And then I could use the guardsman to block. And then we'd be on a village to hopefully influence next turn. So I suppose we want to do this as efficiently as possible, though. So we're going to do this. We're going to use this. That's move 4. That gets us here. We're going to fight this guy. We are not going to kill him during the ranged attack portion. I guess we only have to play one card because I can use Burning Power. So we're going to use the Guardsman to block his 4. And then we're going to use Determination to attack 2. And use Burning Power to get 3. And that would be that. Now we're playing pretty conservatively here. Because we have 3 cards left over, which means we're only going to draw 2 cards. And we're hoping for Influence. Worst comes to worst, though, I can always play Tranquility to draw an extra card and just swap that out. Or maybe use Green Source to draw 2 cards. We'll see. I do have this red crystal sitting in the inventory if need be, but we're not going to be fighting anything next turn. So Rage is kind of a dead card at the moment. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, but I'm fine with this. Okay, we got red. We might get threatened or something. No, we got battle versatility. Interesting. Process a dummy. Okay, so other things that happen. Depending on what's on offer here, certain things are selected in order to... One of the advanced cards goes into his dummy deck, his deed deck, in order to expand it slightly, but then one of the spell cards is looked at the mana value, and that is added as a crystal. So he actually got another green crystal, and he just dumped 6 cards on the first turn, which is impressive. Thankfully, we went first, so we got an extra turn out of that. All right, so we got battle versatility, which gives us some ranged options. Yeah, I'm tempted to take on the keep. I'm tempted to take on the keep. He would just be too much. I need 6 siege attack. Maybe... So if I got concentration, but I'd have to have a green in order to do it. And it's not enough. So if I got concentration, I could turn this into siege attack 4. And then this would be siege attack 5. That's still not enough. Like, generating 6 siege attack to wipe out the ice mages before it even go is quite tough. So I think we're going to be moving. It's unfortunate all we have are 2 whites and a red. Having that one card that let us re-roll source every turn would actually benefit us quite a bit. But we're just going to have to do the boring option of moving 4 and getting here by playing these 2. And then I either have to just end the turn and play really conservatively, or play Tranquility to just cycle it and draw a new card. Yeah, it depends on how confident I am that I'm going to get something I can use. 4 of the cards are move. All right. We'll draw a card. It was a move. Okay. So now I can spend that. And I can either move on to the keep in the hopes that I just take it this turn. But the fact that I have 2 red cards, I have a red crystal and a red source, that's kind of encouraging. I don't, however, have the guardsman available, so I might take some wounds in the process. Also, it's a hill, so I would need 3 moves, so no, we're not going to be doing that. We're just going to explore this tile. Okay. So this has a blue mana mine. This has another magical glade. This has a cursed hag's enemy. And it has a monastery. Monasteries are not bad. They let you... you can heal there for even cheaper than the village. You can recruit units that have the monastery icon on it. which is the Northern Monks for 7 influence. Attack or block 3, or if you spend a blue mana, ice attack or ice block 4. Interesting. It's a pretty good unit. That's not bad at all. Also, you can train there. You can get advanced actions. It says, when a mouse series reveal, put the top card of the advanced action deck face up and then units offer. Units are going to be bought at any monastery for 6 influence. Oh yeah, that would be this one. So I can get Crushing Bolt. The top part, get a green crystal to your inventory. Very nice. The bottom, Siege Attack 3 for a green. And I could get that for 6 influence. Well, yeah, but getting there is going to be a fucking... It's going to be fucking work. Not likely in the near future, to be sure. I'd have to either go all the way through multiple forests, which would be like 17 movement to get there, or go through the Cursed Hags. Cursed Hags have 5 armor, no resist or anything, 3 attack. However, if you take any wounds from that attack, you get 2 wounds instead. And that includes units. Units can normally take 1 wound, and then they have to be healed. But they would take 2 wounds, and they would have to both be healed before they could be used again. So poison's kind of nasty. For now, though, I think our turn is done. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It would have been bad. Yeah, well, it's fine. We don't play with other people, so, I mean, like, this isn't going to change from this turn to the next turn. Okay, good. Process the dummy. Okay, dumped another one. He's got 7 left. Okay, might be a shorter night. Perhaps I picked the wrong tactic card there, but we'll see. We might want to play a little more aggressively. But I think we shall. So I need, I need 3 move, which I would say is probably going to be swiftness plus threaten. It does have range attack, but this is a keep, so it's always fortified. You cannot use range attacks to defeat the enemy there. So it's essentially worthless for us if we're going to take on the keep. I would have liked to have gotten back the guardsman, but I still think the siege attack plan is theoretically viable. Yeah, we have crystallized, but I don't have any blue, so it would be the top part, which is when you play this, also pay 1 mana of a basic color, gain a crystal of that color to your inventory. I'm pretty sure you can use the source for that, so I could gain like a red crystal or a white crystal, but there wouldn't really be much purpose in doing that. So I think we're just going to move on and hope for the best. I mean, this is kind of dangerous, but... So what happens if I move on to it? Okay, there it is. Oh, fuck. Okay. So he's double fortified. So the unit on the keep is always fortified. But if they have the fortified symbol, they're double fortified. So he can't even be hit with siege attacks. Not that that matters, because I could not hit 7 armor anyways. So we're going to be tanking this. I wish we had the guardsman, but we don't. I could play block, but if I do that, I can't kill him. So we have to just take the damage. It's fine, because it's only going to be 1 wound. So since there's no block, we take the full value of 3. No matter what, even if it was 1, whatever it is, your armor does not matter at this point. If you were going to take damage, you take fucking damage. So we would take a wound, which is just a wound card like many other card games. It just kind of clogs up your hand. You can't normally discard it. It just stays in your hand. It lowers your max hand size, essentially. And then at the end of the round, if it's still in your hand, it gets shuffled into your deed deck to come up again. And normally you can't heal stuff that's in your deck or your discard. Healing is normally only what's in your hand. So if you're still wounded at the end of a round, it gets a lot more complicated to get rid of a wound. The one easy way to do it, though, is to end on a magical glade, and then you can heal from your hand or discard, but not from your deed deck. Also, our music ended. After you take that wound, you then reduce the damage value by your armor. So if I had 2 armor still, I would reduce the damage down to 1. Then I would take another wound because it's still above 0. Then after taking that second wound, I would reduce the value again by my armor. And then if it's at 0, then I don't take any more wounds and it's over. So even a 3 attack at this point, I'm going to take a wound, but because I have 3 armor, I would only take 1 wound. Alternatively, you could push it onto your units. So instead, I could have the guardsman take a wound, and then he reduces the damage value by his armor, which is 5, and then that would also be it. It would be just so either I or the guardsman is taking a wound here. It's inevitable. So if we wound the guardsman, he is... A wounded unit cannot be activated or assigned damage again. It is completely useless until it is healed or replaced by a fresh, healthy one. Thankfully, though, that never... The wound never gets, like, shuffled in anywhere or anything. It's just he's wounded until he gets healed. I don't think the magical glade heals him. I think it has to be a heal effect, but I have heal effects. I think that's better. So we're going to take a unit wound. We're going to wound the poor guardsman who was along for the ride. And then that's the end of the damage. And now I can attack him. I have to get up to 7. Which is not going to be too easy. We don't even need to spend our crystal. We're going to use this. This is going to be an attack 4. We're going to play Rage next to it as an attack 2. And then we're going to use Burning Power to be a siege. The double fortified and all that only counts during the ranged phase, not during the normal phase, the melee phase. So it's still just 1 siege. So 1 plus 2 plus 4 is 7, and thus he is dead. And job done. At this point, I could crystallize, but I can't use another source die, so we will hold off on that decision, and we will end our turn and level up. Because we get nice 3 fame off of this. By assaulting this keep, though, because it's not a rampaging enemy, this is a fortified, civilized location, we do get -1 reputation. But, in return, we get to own the keep. It is our keep. And we can now recruit units here with the keep icon on it, which is that symbol that I thought was a keep. And if we end our turn on or adjacent to a keep that we own, our hand limit is 1 higher for every keep that we own. So we will draw up to 6 cards at the end of this round, and we could then, next turn, claim a couple of these units. We could get Guardian Golems or Utum Crossbowmen, which is not bad. Not bad. The Guardian Golem's really good for elemental block, but the Crossbowman, a nice reliable form of ranged attack too, which is pretty tempting. So we're going to end our turn and level up. And we are now level 4. So we get to pick another skill. So we cannot pick Ritual of Pain, but we can pick Green Crystal Craft, which would give us a blue crystal once per round, and a green mana token. It's pretty valuable, Polarization. Once per turn, you can use 1 mana as a mana of the opposite color. During the day, you can use a black mana as any color other than black, not to power stronger effects of spells. At night, you can use a gold mana as black to power the stronger effect of a spell, but not as any other color. I think... I'm not sure if this allows you to use black dice in the source during the day. I thought those are still just like off limits, but I'm not sure. That's one of those kind of specific, like this, a rule on a card or token overrules the rules of the rule book sort of thing. I have no idea. It says black mana cannot be used during the day. But I think it also talks about, like, overruling something on a card or, you know, things like that. I don't know. I could search this specific thing maybe, but... It's complicated. You can't use black mana at day or gold mana at night unless an effect allows it. You are not allowed to generate mana from the source without using it immediately. There's a lot of, like, corrections and, like, arguments here. Can I use polarization to allow me to use a black die as if it were gold? Yes, you can. Done. Alright, that's kind of good. It's kind of good. We also have Dark Fire Magic. Once per round, flip this to gain 1 red crystal to your inventory and 1 red or black mana token. That's very high on the red. That's interesting. Do we want a lot of red, or do we want the flexibility of blue crystals and green tokens? Red's pretty good. I mean, we have a bunch of red cards. We can kill a lot of stuff with red. But... oh god, decisions. I could see why I would never, ever, ever want to play this with other people. The amount of analysis paralysis would be astronomical. But I think we're going to go with Green Crystal Crab. Okay, and he dumps Glittering Fortune out there. Once per turn, get influence 1 for each different color crystal in your inventory. Huh. Okay. All right, and then, so that's once per round, not once per turn, obviously. We also get an advanced action. We have the Refreshing Walk, of course, which would allow us to move and heal our little guardsman dude. Song of Wind, move 2. The move cost of plains, deserts, and wastelands is reduced by 1 to a minimum of 0 this turn. Spending a white mana gets a move 2. Move cost of plains, deserts, and wastelands reduced by 2. And you may pay a blue mana to be able to travel through lakes for a move cost 0 this turn. Move through them, but not end on them, obviously. And then Ice Shield. It's an ice block 3 by default. Blue mana gets you Ice Block 3. Reduce the armor of one enemy blocked this way by 3. Armor cannot be reduced below 1. Dang, that's a pretty powerful effect. That's pretty powerful. Yeah, especially if I had my sights set on that mage, which this might allow us to do. All right. Claimed. Okay, and so we got an extra... Okay, good. We got an extra card there, so we got 6 cards to play with. Yes. And we have our Ice Shield right away. Influence. We have not much. Yeah, we have very little influence available. If I play a red mana and discard another card, I can get influence 5, but unfortunately, it's not quite there. So I'd have to dump quite a lot of cards just to get the crossbow in this turn. It's not the most efficient thing that I could do. We definitely want to heal and regenerate. With one card, we can get our guardsmen all the way back in fighting form, which is great. So I think that's a no-brainer, and that's not an action or anything. That's just a card we play. So that's happening no matter what. Just let it happen. So he's back in business. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're probably just going to explore. It's the lamest option, but I think that's the most sensible. I mean, I could play improvisation and dump something else. We could get move 5 theoretically, which would let me actually move, but I think we can do that after I explore. We just can't take anything back once I explore, but I think we're mostly okay. Let's do it. Okay, another set of prowlers. We do have hills here, and this is... Is this something? Monster Den, yes. You may enter a monster den as your action for the turn. If you do, draw a brown enemy token to fight. Okay. Okay. Well, we don't have to do it this turn, but that might be a nice setup for next turn. And it would also put us next to the hags, so we could fight them if things line up appropriately. Not a bad idea to move on to that. That's a hill, so that's 3 extra move, and I think we're going to do that. So we're going to use improvisation, and we're going to crystallize. We're going to dump crystallize. So that's a move 3. We're going to move on to the monster den. Now, to actually fight and kill the hags, we'd want to get 5 ranged attack, which I can't do. I already dumped swiftness. Yeah, I really don't have enough attack to do anything, so we're not doing that. I think we're probably ending our turn here. Yeah, I mean, I can gain a blue... Yeah, no, I think we're just ending our turn. I just don't have enough attack to actually do anything else, and I don't have any move, really, to do anything else, so... that's it. We still get to go up to 6, because we're adjacent to our keep. But we could have easily just moved on to this mine instead. But I got greedy. I want to do both. So we're going to end our turn. Yes, and it automatically used our Night Tactic 2, so we drew up to 6, which is good. I was going to do it anyways. We will process the dummy's turn. Okay, and we still have another turn after this then. Actually, we have 2 more turns after this. If we so choose. Okay, Interesting. We're still light on attack. We can definitely get attack 4 pretty easily. With the guardsman, I can get attack 6. But we generally like to have the guardsman block for us rather than attack. But I have ice shield, so that's not a problem. We only take the poison if we get wounded. So we have ice block 3. Job done, no problem. Yes. Okay. My last card is... See, I don't know why I would... Okay, it's not showing us that. Because that's completely unknown. Good. We would not know what that card is. Good. That's good scripting right there, I gotta say. I thought it would show us and cheat a little bit, but no. The question is, can we do anything after this turn? Can we do anything on a final turn after this, after we defeat the hags, for example? I think the only thing we'd probably be able to do is really just move on to here. This influence card, I just don't see us being able to do it. Unless I want to spend my turn instead of fighting the hags, we want to just move back onto the keep and hire the crossbowmen. That we could probably do. Yeah, that we could do pretty reliably. So is it more valuable to do that or to defeat the hags? We're not going to level up off the hags. We still have 2 rounds of game after the end of this night. So I don't think we have to rush it, and I think getting the crossbowman is probably more valuable than just getting 3 more fame and 1 more rep. The 1 rep would help, it would give us an extra influence, but it's really not necessary to get the crossbowman, so I'm not going to be picky about it. So yeah, so we're going to have a very lame turn here. Just because I'm not sure that I can kill the hag and move and get the thing. I'd have to hold on to promise, and I'd have to hold on to concentration. But the problem with that is I'd have to have a green mana to do it. So I also have to play mana pool in order to use the black as a green. No, we have the green crystal crab. Never mind. I'm thinking. We're getting there. So I can use that to get a green token. We can use that to concentrate and get influence 6. So that's done. That's all nice and tidy. Which means, can I kill the hag and then the following turn move on to the keep and hire? Ignoring the ranged attack option, the ice shield covers us for the block, because I don't think we can actually muster the ranged attack. So that's fine. We block. Then I need to get 5 attack. The guardsman is 2. And we either have the red crystal for 4 or mana pull to use the black. That's fine. Yes. The last card in my hand has to be a move. It has to be a move, otherwise this isn't doable, as far as I can tell. It's not the end of the world if it's not doable, so we're going to try. We'll try. Okay. So that means we're not going to move. We're just going to confront the hag. We're going to use Ice Shield. Ice block the 3, so that's done. Let me pull that in real quick. Okay, so Ice block to block the 3. We're not doing any ranged attack. Then we have to muster up 5. We're going to use the guardsman to do 2. And then we're doing Rage. Actually, if I don't use Mana Pull, and I use my red crystal instead, we're actually safe. Regardless of what our final card is. So yeah, just do that. It sucks to burn a crystal on something I don't have to burn a crystal on, but... Actually, alternatively, there are white dice in the source, which I can use for promise instead of concentration. So instead of that, we can just use concentration here to get a bread token and use that. But that does spend an extra card. Actually, does that fuck us over more? I need 6 influence. I get +1 for killing this thing. So I really only need 1 extra influence. But I need 3 move. How am I generating the move? Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. No matter what, I need a move card. I can't guarantee. Yeah, it just is what it is. Oh, right. Yeah, we were going to play concentration. The bottom of concentration using this. No, that's right. So yeah, no, that doesn't work. The only other way would be to use mana pull and use that. But if I welcome to Mage Night, I guess. If I don't pull a move card, I will have 5 cards. We have to spend 2 to get the crossbowmen, So that would be 3 basic moves. So yeah, yes. If we want to guarantee this round that I get that crossbowman, I have to use this crystal. It probably will have been a waste because that will be a move card, like statistically, but we're gonna do it. So that's it. Okay. It was not. It was not a move card. Ooh, okay. All right. So that's then we're going to spend this, and this as 3 move to move back onto our keep. And then we're going to spend we're gonna do green crystal craft, which is not scripted or anything, but I get a blue crystal to my inventory and a green token. And then we're gonna spend that on concentration to play another card, and I get +2 off the strong effect, so 6 influence, which allows us to get the crossbowman. Boom, baby! What a perfect turn. That's satisfying. It's a satisfying little puzzle, I think. Yeah, I think we're all good. Okay, that's it. That's it. End turn. Call end of round, and then we end turn around. And that's all she wrote for that, so done. Okay. Very nice. Slick. Remove both those 2. And we're back to daytime, baby. Right. So we should think about our first turn before we pick our tactics. There's the dungeon. Yes, we could confront the dungeon. That's true. It might be worth a lot of fame. I do see in my hand a decent number of block and or attack. We have both the guardsman and the crossbowman available to us, as well as the burning power. So that's not a bad option. Moving 3 is a little tricky. I don't think I just wouldn't feel comfortable with rethink to dump cards, because there's just so many factors of just like I could end up with a worse hand kind of thing, you know, sort of stuff. If I were to dump a card, I guess I could dump Mana Pull. But that also, Mana Pull lets me use that black die as any color. It lets me use it as a gold, essentially, which is really handy. So I don't know if I would. Mana Steel wouldn't be bad. Because Mana Steel is basically similar to the effect of Mana Pull, where I can use that at any time, and I can also use an actual die on that same turn. So it allows me to kind of double up on mana, theoretically. The problem is the selection of dice. Like, black from Mana Steel is useless. It's only good for Mana Pull. Red is good, but I would probably use red pretty quickly. And then blue, it's like I already have a blue crystal and I can get another one really easily. So I don't know how much I want to double up. Fuck. I don't know. Just pick early bird. I know I said we'd never pick it, but I might want an extra turn. So, okay, it took rethink. questionable. It's all questionable. All right, so we have to get 3 move in order to move on to the hills there to get to the dungeon. I'm tempted, I suppose, to just dump both of these cards. The problem is I just don't know. Well, no, we shouldn't use both of them. We can just use swiftness or stamina with the blue die. The problem with that strat is that cuts us out of the red die, and battle versatility is a really nice effect. We can use mana pull though in order to use the second die, and we can just use the black one, which is kind of nice. So not the end of the world, I think. We're gonna go with that. So we're gonna use stamina. We're gonna move 4, and we're gonna move on to the dungeon. Then I guess we're just gonna confront whatever it is and hope for the best. Okay, it's a Medusa. So if I take a wound from the Medusa, I discard all non-wound cards. And units are just destroyed. That's pretty bad. On the flip side, it has no fortification, no resistances of any kind. So all we have to do is generate 4 ranged attack, which is pretty easy. We can do this in multiple ways, really. We can use the crosswomen to get 2. That's pretty easy. We can use mana pull as the black die on swiftness for range attack 3. Or on the red one as range attack 3. And then, alternatively, if we don't want to use the crosswomen, we could just use burning power, which is what we should do for sure. We're definitely going to use mana pull with something. So it's basically, do I want to hold on to swiftness or do I want to hold on to battle versatility? We definitely are going to be moving after this, probably to the monastery, so I want to hold on to swiftness. I think we're going to use battle versatility. Unfortunately, well, actually, no. We don't even need to activate mana pull on this one. We can do 1 here, 2 here, and 1 on burning power. It's a question then of whether I want to use mana pull or my crosswoman. I think probably mana pull. I don't know. That's debatable. Yeah, I think this gets the black die into something that's maybe usable next turn. So, yes, I think that's fair. So that's gonna be range attack 3. And then burning power is range attack 4, and that keeps our crossbowmen ready, fresh and ready. And that's it. It's for range attack done, and that's the end of the round. That's the end of the turn. You know what I mean. All right, and we leveled up. We are level 5 now. Look at that. So that means we got another command token, and our hand size is actually 6 now. We have also conquered the site. If you defeat the enemy, mark the space conquered with your shield token, get 2 random mana crystals as your reward. Roll a mana die 2 times, determine the color. If gold is rolled, you choose the color you gain. If black is rolled, you get fame +1 instead of a crystal. I think I'm meant to do that manually, so we will do that manually. I got black, so I got +1 fame from that. Okay. And we got... Oh, come on. Tabletop simulator. Green. Okay, we get green. That works for me. That's fine. I probably would have preferred red, but it's fine. Okay, excellent. And good. This is all pretty good. So we're at 26. We need now 9 more fame to level up. Again, that seems kind of unlikely. Also, it said it right here in the bottom right. But because we have increased our hand size to 6 and we're next to our keep, we go up to 7 cards. Hot damn. All right. We want to move. We want to get to that monastery. We want to probably purchase either Swift Bolt, gain a white crystal to your inventory, or ranged attack 4. Alternatively, we can get the Illusionists or the Herbalists. The Herbalists are really cheap. They're not great. Ready a level 1 or 2 unit. That's not bad, but it's not bad. Gain a green mana token. Okay. Or by spending a green mana, they can do heal 2. Or the Illusionists cost 7, but they can do influence 4. Gain a white crystal to your inventory. That's really great. Or by spending white mana, you can target an unfortified enemy and they do not attack this combat. Just no need to block. They just don't even do damage or anything. That's pretty great. Yeah, that's not bad at all. But I also have a lot of block. I've kind of geared myself for blocking, so it's not strictly necessary. I'd probably lean towards Swift Bolt. It's another card in our deck. It extends our options, extends our round. And that's 6 influence in order to buy from the monastery. So we'd have to move 4. Ideally, we move 6 in order to explore another tile. So moving 6. I didn't get concentration, so that's a no-go. All the swords are red. That doesn't help us at all. So I think we're going to be doing our green crystal craft. We need a green token. We don't have any options. So we're going to be using that. That gets us a blue crystal and a green token, which is there. And then we're going to do swiftness. And that's just 6. So because we're going to stay on the monastery, but we're going to move here. And then we're going to explore this one. Okay. So the Wolf Riders are over there. They have 4 armor. They have 3 attack. However, they have swiftness. So they do 3 damage, but for blocking purposes, they essentially have 6 attack. So they're really hard to block. But if you don't block, they only do 3 damage. Not bad. There's also another dungeon here. It's a monster den. Yeah, it's a different monster den. And then there's another monastery next to us, which means that there's another option for the training. Heroic Tale. Influence 3. You get reputation +1 for each unit you recruit this turn. Or spend a white token. Influence 6. Fame +1 and reputation +1 for each unit you recruit this turn. Not bad. If I had a card that let me drew a card, I think you could then purchase that, draw it, and then use it right away in order to recruit a unit. That would be a really slick combo, but I don't have that in me, and I don't know if I want to waste a whole turn to try to get it. So we're at where we're at, and I think we're just going to do it. So we need 6 influence. That's not really looking good. It's not really looking good. I don't even have the white. I don't have any white. I don't have any, like, nothing. We need to get red cards. Let me double check. There's a discussion here. There's going into crystallize and it being kind of shit. My understanding was that I could take one of these red source dice. And just turn it into a red crystal. Doesn't that make sense? That's why it's called crystallize. I think they were discussing it specifically in regards to gold. Something about gaining a crystal, but I don't know what they were talking about. It doesn't make any sense. I'm pretty sure I can do exactly what I talked about. Yes. Okay. So I can play Crystallized. This doesn't have anything to do with anything else, but I can play Crystallized in order to take this red and get a red crystal, which is good. It will also re-roll that die at the end of the turn, which means we might get gold, we might get white. We have a 2 in 6 chance of that being valuable for us. What I can't do at this point is buy anything. I can get 5 influence by spending promise as 2 and then the other 3 as 1. And that would be 5, but that doesn't get us anything except Herbalist. I could get Herbalist though. I can dump promise for 2 and then one of these other 2 probably determination. Well, I mean, Ice Shield isn't really that valuable. No, the bottom part of it is really valuable. So yeah. We could get Herbalist. And in the risk, yeah, I'm burning my cards pretty quickly, though. We're burning quicker than him. It might behoove me to just sit here and hope that I draw something better or get something better out of this. Yeah, we'll play conservatively for this turn. So I'm just going to wait. Oh, and then he get the fucking big. All right, so now he's at 8. Okay, evened us up a little bit. And we did not get really lucky with that and re-rolled to blue. We drew a swiftness card and a regeneration card. So sure, I'm gonna dump promise and I'm gonna dump regen, and we're gonna get the herbalist. The downside of that, of course, is that that's my action, so I can't move now. But it's fine. Before I did that, yes, nothing. I'm gonna take that back temporarily. Nothing permanent has been done. I just want to explore first. So we're gonna play swiftness, and I'm gonna explore this first. Yeah. Technically, I didn't actually have to play this. Because I actually have +1 influence from my reputation. So all I had to do was play this and we got him. Okay, good. That's all fine. All right, so here we have another village in the swamp. That's lame. We have another wolf rider here. And we also have an altar. I don't know anything about altars. It says it requires 3 blue mana. You encounter an ancient altar of some forgotten god. In this case, token depicts 3 mana of a particular color. You may activate the altar by paying 3 mana of that color. If you do, gain 7 fame immediately. Discard the ruins token and mark the space with a shield token. Okay, so I have to move on to that and pay 3 mana however I can. Yes, and I do have a blue source die and 2 of this, so we could do that, which is kind of an awesome way to get 7 fucking fame. But moving on to that is going to be tricky. I'm going to need 2, 4, 7 movement. And 3 of my 6 cards are movement, so it's possible. Kind of wish we had picked up peasants at some point for an extra little move bonus, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. For now, we're ending our turn, but we're passing a lot of turns here and not getting much card draw. And neither again did we get much card draw. Okay, he's still at 5, so that's fine. Okay, improvisation though. We have red. That's good. That's very good and strong. So we can do the bottom of improvisation and discard a different card to get move 5. That gets us pretty close. That's 5 of 7. We can play Herbalist to gain a green mana token, and that would let us do Tranquility. To get 2 more cards. Is that smart? I don't know. I don't know. It's possibly. But we're really hoping for just a little extra movement, because if I can get there, we can do it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get the green mana token. We're gonna do this. We're gonna draw 2 cards. We got our movement. Okay. Do I have to pay the thing immediately, or do I get kicked off? Nothing happens. Okay. I need to double check this. Do I have to pay immediately? Doesn't really say. It doesn't really say if I have to do it immediately. You can choose to ignore the site or enter it. It's kind of vague. Kind of vague. You can enter it as your action for the turn. Okay, good. Alright, so we want to get onto the altar then, and then worry about the rest later. I might want to fight the Wolf Riders first. We'll see. So we need to, well, it was mostly, a matter of this. Okay. Then I think we're still going to use improvisation because we got the red dice. So we're going to use improvisation with the red die. We're going to discard a different card, which might be regen. I can use regen to get this guy back, but I don't think it's really that valuable for the remainder of our round that we have left here. So I think we're going to dump this, and we're going to get move 5, and then we're going to play March. No, stamina. And then that's move 7, which is exactly what we need to go 2, 4, 7. Yes. Now I can't spend another die from the source. That's why we want to wait. But we can attack the Wolf Riders. We just need 4 ranged attack. We can't get 4 ranged attack. That's off limits. So and then we have to block, which is pretty simple. Basically designed for the guardsman to block, because he counts block 4 twice against an attack with swiftness. So that's no problem. So that's, yeah, I mean, it's blocked. It's done. And then I don't think we're likely to fight anything else, so we may as well just use the crossbowmen in order to maintain some cards. We just have to get 4. So that's basically rage. And the crossbowmen range attack 2. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's fine. So that's 4, and that is a kill. It's 3 fame for that. And then that's it. We're done. Okay, process dummy. Okay, still has 2 left, so we will probably be responsible for ending the round. Good. So now we just have to spend the... We're going to not move. We can move, but it doesn't... I mean, we can move to explore this tile, but it's fine. We'll wait. And we just have to spend the 3 mana now. So that's going to be this blue die, and this blue, and this blue. And I think we do this. And that puts that there. And that will be it. At least 1 card must be played or discarded. Okay, then I suppose I would use this move 2 to, would that be the smartest thing? Maybe not. Actually, maybe not. Let's hold on to that. We're going to dump these 2 to move 2 to explore this tile. Ah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought it would be. So that is the city, which means that's the end. When a player reveals a city, all players, including themselves, have 1 last turn. So we get 1 more turn after this, and then it's over. which doesn't really matter much. There's not much we can do. But we got mostly what we came for, so I'm happy enough. We're going to end turn, level up. So we're now level 6. We get another skill. We got Dark Paths. This is a once per turn, move 1 during the day or move 2 at night. Invocation, once per turn. Discard a wound card to gain a red or black mana token, or discard a non-wound card to gain a white or green mana token. You must spend a mana token gain this way immediately, or you cannot use this skill. So, you know, if I don't have wounds, which I don't, I've not taken a wound, we can discard just any card to get a white or green mana token. It's not bad, it's once per turn, but, you know, it's not amazing. And then his offering was Glittering Fortune. Once per turn, get influence 1 for each different color crystal in your inventory, which would really be 2 influence every time. Yeah, it's not bad. I don't think there's anything. I'd have to move 4. Okay. Oh yeah, maybe I can buy another thing. I don't know if that does anything. I think probably more likely we'd want to explore to get another fame off of that. I don't know all the scoring or anything, or what matters for scoring. But yeah, we might actually be able to get the Illusionist to replace our shitty Herbalist. So sure, I'm going to take this. And then we get an advanced action card. Pathfinding, move 2. Move cost of all terrain reduced by 1 to a minimum of 2 this turn. That's pretty nice. And green mana for move 4. Move cost of all terrains reduced to 2 this turn. It's reduced to a flat value of 2. Interesting. Blood Rage, attack 2. You can take a wound to increase this to attack 5. Attack 5 for no mana. Or you can spend a red mana to get attack 4. Take a wound to increase it to attack 9. Oh my god, I could kill the fucking dragon here. Could I? Oh god, it sounds pretty difficult. He has physical resistance. Fire resistance. So yeah, okay. And he does fire attack 9. Your physical and fire blocks are halved. And I dumped the ice block I had. And I have no, we cannot kill the dragon. There's also a high dragon over here, but he has cold fire attacks. Oh my god. And brutal. Your enemy's attack is doubled if not blocked. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Could I make it to the Wolf Riders and kill him? Not really. I have no attacks. It would depend entirely on Blood Rage. And I don't think I can get there. I would take a wound just to kill him. So no, I don't think so. We'll just take Pathfind. It doesn't matter. I mean, nothing really matters at this point. Okay, there we go. So I suppose we're going to, yeah, we're going to move. We're gonna move. And we'll use our green crystal. Although, no, we probably don't. What is the scoring exactly? So, time to assign some extra rewards. Player will score extra fame for different achievements. Continue to move the shield in the fame track, but ignore any level ups now. Each character. Okay. Apply standard achievement scoring. Whoever's the most fame wins if tied. Players share the victory. I mean, it doesn't matter. We're playing solo. None of this matters. I think a lot of players probably don't even do scoring. So I think, I don't remember where I saw it, but if you're playing solo, I think you do not count the titles. So, for example, greatest knowledge. Each player scores 2 fame for each spell and 1 fame for each advanced action in their deck. That we count. The player who scores the most fame this way gets 3 extra fame for achieving the greatest knowledge. That we don't count because obviously we would have all the titles. So we get 2 points for each spell, 1 for each advanced action. We get 1 point for each level of our units. Wounded units are counted only as half, rounded down. We get 2 points for each shield token we have on an adventure site. We get 2 points for each artifact in our deck or on our units, and 1 fame for every 2 crystals in our inventory. 2 points for each shield token we have on a keep, mage tower, or monastery. And we lose 2 fame for each wound card in our deck, but not on our units. So wounding units is worth a lot more to you than wounding yourself. Okay, so probably, yeah, the biggest thing we could do is get the illusionist, which is an extra point. Yeah, it's an extra point. Is that really the best thing we could do? I suppose we could take an advanced action card. That's also worth a point. Yeah, it's a horse apiece. Replacing the stupid herbalist, though, this is valuable to me. I don't think there's really anything else we could do. But by spending a crystal, we do lose out on a point, because it's 1 point for every 2 crystals. So I don't really care that much about victory points, but I figure it's in the spirit of the game here to min-max and puzzle it out. So the problem is we can't. Oh no, we can. Yeah, yes, we can. So we play concentration. Oh no, that'll get us the red token. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. What did I play pathfinding for? Wait, why did I? Oh, I think I was debating about how to spend it. No, okay, so we just do that. That's move 4. That gets us to the monastery. I think we're fine no matter what. We're gonna play threat. We're gonna play concentration to get a red token. We play it on threaten, and then we can play this for an extra influence. So that's 6. Our reputation goes down 1, but it doesn't affect anything. And then we can play this, which is plus 2 influence. Yep. So that's technically 8 influence. I can get whatever I want. We're gonna play. We're gonna grab the illusionist. I don't know if they become uncommanded right, or they become ready right away, but they probably do. I think they do. Yeah. Okay. So that's a nice way to do it. So then he would just go here or something, and then we would claim the illusionist. And there you go. Okay, job done. I think we're done. I think we have done everything we can. Okay, and it does not auto-calculate my final score for me. Yeah, it just does that over and over. I don't think it calculated this for me. Pretty sure that's what we were at. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't need to sit here and spend time calculating out my actual score for the starter scenario. But we did get, what, 3 advanced actions, I think? I would imagine that's the case. We got Ice Shield. We got, so I don't know. Did I get 3? I don't know. Didn't I? What was there was that other one. There was the green where it was pathfinding. We got pathfinding. Wasn't there another one that was a heal or something? Regeneration was an advanced, yeah. So I got 3. That's nice. That's 3 points. I'm going to move myself up so we can really tally this. I'll probably never do this again, by the way, so enjoy it. We get fame equal to the total level of all their units. which is 6, man. I was a unit man. I go up to 48. Hell yeah. We get 2 fame for each shield token we have on an adventure site, which is here and here. Those 2. So that's 4 points, right? Yeah, 4 points for that. 2, 3, 4. We get 2 fame for each artifact in our deck. Nothing. We get 1 fame for every 2 crystals, so that's fame. We get 2 fame for each shield token we have on a keep, mage tower, monastery. You can burn down monasteries. I didn't mention that. People don't like it though. And we lose 2 fame for each wound card in our deck, but we have none, so our total is 55, baby. And we did not even go to 4 rounds. We kind of... These are not pre-placed tiles, by the way. It's just drawn from a stack here for the scenario. And the city is in like the bottom, I don't know, 4 or something. I don't know how they do it. It's in the bottom 3 or 4 or something like that. So if you just keep exploring, you're gonna see it, but it's not gonna happen in the first few. And yeah, that's the introductory, because now if you do conquest, the goal is to conquer the cities, all the cities. Within 6 rounds. So at this point now we would keep playing and I would have had to conquer this city, and I don't even know how it's done. I haven't gotten that far. There's a bunch of things here, stats, and I mean it's probably not easy for a single mage knight to conquer a city. But you would keep going, and keep exploring and keep fighting and keep doing stuff, keep leveling up. It gets harder and harder to level up, but you'd get artifacts and more advanced cards, and you'd put in elite units, and you get powerful spells. Recruit any one unit from the units offer for free. Yeah. This disintegrate just destroys target enemy. Just dead. Just fucking dead. It's pretty powerful stuff. And that's Mage Knight. Yeah. It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's pretty cool. It's very puzzly. It's got the cool cards and it feels like an RPG, but it's really a puzzle game. Just with a massive amount of variety and options possible. And there are, oh, this did calculate. Hold on. What was I on? Like 39. $92. What the fuck? Oh, there's solo like efficiency point scaling. Okay, I did everything else correctly. That's for sure. But I got 30 points for a whole round to go. What the hell? Where is that mentioned? I have no idea. I have no idea where that's mentioned. But, okay, I got 30 points for 1 round still to go. I got an extra 2 points because there's 2 dummy cards left in that turn, or in that round. And then the round end was not called this round, so I really was fast. I got 5 points. So 92 was my actual total. You can put me right here, baby. Hell yeah. Beat that. You probably could. I made a lot of... I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, it's really quite interesting. I can definitely see the appeal. There's also the expansion. Right. The Lost Legion, Krang, Shades of Tesla, which adds some new enemies, new character, new map locations, new scenarios. Are there also... Okay, there's a shit ton, apparently, of fan-made scenarios. And yeah, there's some fan-made modules. I saw that somewhere in here. Okay, yeah, so if we, we're done with this. It was well done. Good job, Mangg. Good job. But if we reload this, we can look at all the options available to you. So you can include the Shades of Tesla monsters. Here's all the different scenario options. Like one to return. Life and death. Quest for the Golden Grail. Solo only. I bet there's a lot of solo fan-made scenarios. You include Apocalypse Dragon Terrain from the Apocalypse Dragon expansion, featuring 3 new sites: Oasis, Ziggurat, and Pyramid. You can start at nighttime if you want. This is more difficult. Not only is it harder to use mana and travel through forests, you also do not see who defends keeps and towers and what dangers lurk in ruin. You can add custom mage knights made by the community. Imirg the Dwarf, Mevok the Necromancer, Dulcinea the Dryad, Malik the Gunslinger, and Zerte. And then there's alternate monster tokens. Some awesome-looking, high-resolution, modern design monster tokens. That sounds cool. I kind of want to see that, actually. There's also some play variants for random terrain tile orientation, random cities, rampage, whatever that does, more rampage, ambushing rampager, pursuing rampager, darkness is coming, the Atlantean weather custom mod, quest cards custom mod, an item shop custom mod, and rise of the forge master. Hold on, I want to see some of these. What does rampage do? Players start at -1 reputation. At the end of each round, each defeated rampaging site has a 50% chance to get a new rampaging enemy token deployed, and a 1 in 6 chance for a brown enemy token as well. Okay, more rampage. Players start at -2 reputation. 50% chance for a brown enemy token. Ambushing rampager. They'll be provoked if you move through 2 spaces that are within 2 hexes of them. Mountains, lakes, and walls block this range. Option just adds a ring to the rampage tokens to illustrate the hexes that might provoke them. Allows the attack button to show up at this greater distance. Pursuing rampager. They will follow the mage knight who revealed them while exploring. On subsequent turns, placing the mage knight in a new location will move all their pursuing monster tokens 1 place closer to them. That's crazy. Darkness is coming. At the end of each round, virtual dice are rolled to see if the time of day should change. Once the change happens, it stays at that time of day for the rest of the game. Weather. Adds a weather effect to terrain tiles. That's all the explanation you get. That's all you need. Quest cards. It adds quest cards you can collect and complete for bonuses. That sounds awesome. Item shop custom mod. Introduces another option during your interaction at villages, monasteries, and cities. You can visit the item shop to purchase items, weapons, armor, and mounts. Manual only, though. Rise the Forge Masters. First module adds several new cards and modifies some of the existing cards. More complex cards are removed from this module but appear in the second and third module. Adds many more cards into the game, introduces some new rules and tokens. Recommended for players who feel adventurous and wish to spice up their game with a few new game concepts. Mana shards, bonuses and penalties, delayed effects, new and updated cards, new game terminology. This adds more complex game concepts and a brand new character. Potions, assassinating attacks, poisonous attacks, arcane vulnerability, innate fortification, forking effects, new character Jorman. Yeah, so, okay, there is a good amount, and there's a lot of it in this tabletop simulator mod, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm definitely quite interested. I think you'll be seeing some more Mage Knight content from me. I don't think we'll throw in all the mods and stuff yet, although that was always very tempting to me. Um, but we might do an actual a solo conquest game. To get a more complete experience. But it's long, like it's not quick. This is one of those games I think you could play physically and play solo and just have on your table for like a few weeks, and you just kind of take some turns here and there. But because each turn can take a long time for you to just sit there and like orient yourself and think through all the possibilities and everything. Like there's a lot of options. But yeah, it is very cool. But like I said, it's one of those games that, yeah, it supports more than one player, but I would never want to play with other people, which is kind of similar to Magic Realm, even though I think that one's more common to play with other people. But Magic Realm, you really have to get people that are highly invested and know the game in and out and stuff. But that allows for a lot of interactivity, and I don't think that one's as puzzly and analysis paralysis as this. That one's just complicated to learn how to play. This one I don't think is actually that complicated to learn how to play. It's just really complicated to play well, and to just play quickly and efficiently and all that, and like, you know, and yeah, it's just it's a game that I think takes a lot of time. You just need a lot of time, and I can't imagine coming to game night with like 4 players and be like, yeah, we're gonna play Mage Knight board game. Yeah, like holy fuck, man, it's like an 8-hour affair. Granted, I'm new to the game and I discussed it. I talked through all my decisions and stuff, and that always takes longer. But yeah, but as a solo game, quite good. I'm surprised. Well, for one, I'm surprised that they didn't focus more on it being a solo game. Like, it's kind of like, I mean, it's impressive enough, I suppose, for 2011 that they had, like, here's a solo variant, and here's a solo rules, and solo scoring, and solo scenario. I don't think solo board gaming was as popular in 2011. Well, not nearly. COVID changed a lot of things. But I'm surprised they haven't come out with a new, like, version 2 or 2.0, second edition is what they would call it, of course. That focused on it way more as a solo game, and probably like it had an optional mode if you wanted to play 2-player or something like that, you know. I think a re-release of Mage Knight could probably do a hell of a lot better these days, to appeal to big solo gamers, because I think a lot of people play like Gloomhaven solo and stuff. Whereas this, like, if you go on Amazon and search Mage Knight, it's not even available. That's not entirely surprising for a game from 2011 that probably didn't sell phenomenally well, but you can see why there's not a many official expansions. Um, is it better than something like Gloomhaven? Kind of. Kind of. I feel like with Gloomhaven, you're at the mercy of randomness quite a bit. Gloomhaven always just feels kind of somewhat frustrating to me. Because you can plan out your perfect turn, but then you just draw like a miss card and then you're fucked. And it's like, oh great, now I'm like kind of dead. Here it's way more deterministic. It's more down to just your intellect and how you can puzzle it together and piece it out, and play which cards in which order and with which tokens, and plan ahead and all that kind of stuff. Um yeah, I think you know, I understand the appeal of Gloomhaven. It's not terrible. We've played a lot of it, but yeah, I mean, this might be better if you're the puzzly type that likes to really use their brain and crunch the numbers and not have to worry about some RNG completely fucking you over. I mean, there is some RNG here. Obviously, there's some times you'll have random enemy tokens you reveal. You have to fight, you know, like the summoner or something. You don't know, or the source dice rolling randomly. I mean, there's still some randomness here, but I think it's mostly good randomization. So, yeah, I will do more Mage Knight. I'm not sure when it will be, if it'll be immediately after this or not, because I'm also playing through some Arkham Horror card game. But I've been like I said, I watched some videos on this and I was like, I really want to talk about this and play this, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I finally got into Mage Knight. I don't think that I would. I do have my physical copy, but I don't know if I'd actually bust it out. I'm not the type to just leave a game on a table for a few weeks and play it occasionally. Like if I'm gonna play, I'm gonna fucking play and get it done. That's how I play. Um, and this one just has so much nice scripting that solves so many problems, and I don't have to worry about reading all the rules correctly of how to set up certain things. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, there will be more Mage Knight content for sure. My name is Mangg. This has been Mage Knight on Tabletop Simulator, and I'll see you fine folks next time.